Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be doing a creepypasta with me voicing over it and me speed painting, because why not add some more thrill to it, I guess. And it's obviously a Christmas one because it's close to Christmas, and it's called the Naughty List, which it will be down in the description, so please enjoy. Also, quickly, there is going to be blood and gore on the writing thing I'm gonna read and the drawing, so trigger warning, I don't know. "12 seems to be the age where kids start putting the heat on their parents about the truth behind Santa. I was certainly no exception to this rule. How were Santa's elves able to make that video game I wanted in their workshop? I thought Nintendo owned Mario. Or how about the ever infamous visiting every house in one night question? Did the jolly man own some kind of time expending device? Or perhaps the most obvious question of all, how could he have lived for this long? A lot of people say he trains apprentices who takes his every few decades. Others claim he's just immortal. As for everything else, magic seems to be the universal lie everyone had to agree on. Whatever the case, I just went with the conclusion that it was my parents' doing. Of course they'll deny it and claim ignorance if I confronted them, but it wasn't enough to dissuade my beliefs. So one Christmas Eve, when I couldn't sleep as these questions danced among my dreams of sugar cereal and new games, I decided to investigate the noises coming from my living room. This time, surely I would catch my dad or mom in the act of stowing presents under the tree. At least then they will let me in on the truth. But as I entered the living room, I saw a man before me that I did not recognize. He was dressed in a red and white, with a slightly overweight body, and he wore a stringy fake white beard. His hair, or what remained of it, was greying around the edges of his classic Santa hat, and his eyes were wide with fright as he dropped a present under the tree. Being the intuitive youth I was, I came to one of the two conclusions. Either this was a home invader stealing my family gifts, or this was the real Santa. I opened my mouth to scream, but the man rushed towards me and covered my mouth. "Shh, shh," he said, putting a finger to his mouth, trying a smile. Tears began to roll down my cheek. I was petrified of this man. Then slowly, he took back his hand and extended it towards me. "It's all right there, little one. You know who I am, right?" I nodded, not shaking his hand back. The trembling man nodded as well, then grabbed an empty sack lying on the floor and gestured to the tree. "Look, see? I bring gifts. Now run along to bed, or I might have to put you on the naughty list." He started drifting towards the deeper, heartly voice, stereotypically occasionated with Chris a Kringle, but I was not fooled. Regardless, I wiped my eyes and began to step back from the living room, trying to create some distance between me and the stranger. The man simply watched, wiped his brow, and proceeded to approach the fireplace. I stopped and observed, confused as to how he was going to leave my house, but a blast of green flames erupted from the chimney, and the man fell back to the floor. I couldn't see his face, but I'm certain it was twisted in fear like my own. A massive bony hand born from the fire, and the arm that followed was dragged in raggedy fur, then another arm, and then the skull of some wild creature with two large horns followed, nearly as large as the fireplace itself. The bones popped and snapped as it slammed its hand onto the floor. The entire monster was engulfed in the flame, yet it did not seem to burn anything in the house.
"Eddie,"
the monster declared, speaking to what I guessed to be the man on the floor. "No, no," Eddie shouted back. "I did my part, see? 10,000 houses, just like you said, right? 10,000, I did my part."
"I get you out, but humans can't see you. You know the rules."
Look, I've learnt my lesson. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Let me go, please. I delivered.
Let you go? Did you let the woman go, Eddie? I don't think you're cool in letting her go. This was your second chance and you wasted it.
What are you going to do? Eddie whispered. I can make out his quaking figure being overshadowed by the creature in the fireplace. The next sound to be heard was a crunch, with a soft beginning and snapping finish. I jumped as the sound repeated a few times, finally letting out a sharply breath. I prayed in my head that it wasn't what I thought, but when the creature reared its head towards me, I saw the red and white pants hanging from its mouth as it chewed on Eddie's corpse, and then watched it slurp up his legs like strands of spaghetti. I covered my eyes and tried to tell myself it wasn't real, it wasn't real, it wasn't real, and after a quiet minute, I peeked between my fingers to see the monster staring back at me from the fireplace. The pace of my breathing grew quicker and sharper, my eyes unable to escape from the grasp of those empty eye sockets.
No, run off back to bed, little one, or else I might have to put you on the naughty list.
My legs finally found the strength to leave, and I sprinted towards my parents' room, dividing into the sheets with them. There wasn't a trace of the events of the nights before when my family went down to the trade. The next morning, there was even a little note next to an empty glass and a half-eaten cookie on the table. Have a Merry Christmas, S. Santa Claus. As much as I tried to take in the warm, a comforting atmosphere that came with Christmas Day, I couldn't stop watching the fireplace, terrified that the monster would return. At the least, now I knew the truth about Santa Claus.
And that's all today. Make sure to like, subscribe, and the drawings on the screen are like my failed drawings which didn't record because that was too long. So there's all the drawings on the screen. Make sure to like, subscribe, have a good day or night whenever you're watching this, and if you want me to do more of this like creepypasta stuff, just say in the comments or like, I don't really mind, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.